Hi, okay, I'm Dr. Chambers. I'm going to be talking to you briefly about how to write a support paragraph. We would use support paragraphs in full essays, whether it's 5 paragraphs, intro, 3 bodies, and a conclusion, or if it's 15 paragraphs, whatever the case, your support paragraph it's going to function like a body paragraph. Or if you're just writing a brief response by itself, you would still use this type of setup to get your point across. Okay, so I'm going to go through this briefly, show you an example from online, and then that'll be the end of it. So the first thing, the elements of a support paragraph. There are 4 major elements of a support paragraph. You have your topic sentence or your assertions. Assertions are also known as opinions. That is the sentence that's going to guide the rest of the paragraph. Usually this is, in a persuasive essay, it's going to have your opinion. But in an expository where you're just doing unbiased writing, it would still be a topic sentence. Then you've got your evidence. And your evidence is where that's your support. So either you've researched and you've found statistics, you've found anecdotes, you've got some type of analogy or whatnot, and that's where you're going to be supporting the topic sentence or supporting your assertion. After you provide your evidence, then you need to analyze it. And so your analysis is going to be where you make sense of this. You synthesize it. What does it mean? Why do we care? What should we get out of this? And that's where you make the connection to something bigger, you make the connection to another text, you make the connection to another research study, etc. And then your last element of a support paragraph is your concluding sentence. If you're making this support paragraph your body paragraph and it's going to be part of an entire essay, then your concluding sentence will not only draw in everything you said in that paragraph, but it will also transition you to the next topic that you're going to be discussing. Notice that I have concluding sentence or sentences because the longer your paper is, sometimes your concluding sentences, you may take 2 or 3 sentences to get to the next point, and that's completely fine. Notice that I don't have what comes first, what comes second, except for, the topic and the conclusion. Obviously, your topic sentence would be first, and then your concluding sentence is going to be last. But how you do the evidence and analysis is up to you. Some students will provide evidence and then provide analysis and then provide more evidence and then provide analysis, and that's absolutely fine. But I'm not giving you a specific structure. I'm not focusing on a 5 paragraph type of essay. I prefer to give students a little bit more flexibility when it comes to how they present that information, but you just need to make sure that you have those elements. Okay, and I have the bricks over here because that's exactly what an essay does, or what your support paragraphs do. They help build your foundation so that by the end of the essay, if you're doing a full paper, you have a complete house. That's a nice little metaphor we like to use. But the key is to make sure that you have assertions and that you support it with sufficient evidence and that the evidence is unbiased. And that then you analyze it and you tie it in. Why does it matter? Don't just give me a whole bunch of statistics or a whole bunch of quotations and then move on to the next paragraph. You need to synthesize that, make that your own, and explain why it's important. Okay, so your example, we've got a Got Milk ad here. I'm sure you've seen these before. They, were really big, I would say about 7 or 8 years ago. And so this particular one is of Meredith. And so notice you've got questions on the right-hand side. And those questions, what do you notice about the ad? Are there examples of ethos, logos, and pathos at work here? What is the purpose? Who is the audience? We're dealing with rhetoric. An advertisement, and this is persuasion, how to get someone to do what you want them to do. And so we, take a look at the picture for a few minutes. What do you notice? There's a caption there. There are 2 captions. And then the prompt is, how is rhetoric employed in this advertisement? And so the person who wrote this one wrote a full-blown essay about this particular ad, but I'm just going to show you one paragraph, one support paragraph, the first one, in which they begin to complete their analysis. Okay, so here's the excerpt. It says, this ad plays on all 3 of the major rhetorical tools: ethos, logos, and pathos. I'm sorry, I said ethos, pathos, and logos. Ethos is apparent with the sole use of celebrities as models for the ad. It says, I drink milk and I'm famous. If you want to be like a star, you should drink milk too. The play on ethos is also apparent in the use of the popular hourglass image. The hourglass is the most popular way to characterize a desirable woman's figure. Adding to this appeal is the slim Meredith Vieira, dressed in a conservative but knee-revealing skirt to further convey the message that drinking milk can make you thin, attractive, sexy, and maybe even famous. Okay, and then the citation is on the bottom there. So let's talk about how this support paragraph is broken up. Well, we've got the first item here, our topic sentence. This ad plays on all three of the major rhetorical tools: ethos, pathos, and logos. Okay, so we know that this paragraph and the rest of this essay is going to be about how this ad plays on ethos, logos, and pathos. Okay, now so our first assertion here: ethos is apparent with the sole use of celebrities as models for the ad. Okay, so now this is an opinion, or this is a statement this person is making about the ad. Now they're going to have to support that. So then our next sentence shows us the evidence. Okay, it says, I drink milk and I'm famous. If you want to be like a star, you should drink milk too. Well, that's evidence that the assertion is accurate, right? The assertion says we use a celebrity, and we've got evidence. And she says she's famous, so there we go. Our next assertion is the play on ethos is also apparent in the use of the popular hourglass image. Now you can see that in the picture very clearly. But our next sentence is the analysis. The hourglass is the most popular way to characterize a desirable woman's figure. Of course, that's, you've heard the saying, shaped like a Coke bottle. Same thing, same concept, that curves are what is most desirable on women, being, and having that small waistline. That is what the mainstream says, okay? So then we have our concluding sentence, and that's with our 2 stars here. Okay. Adding to this appeal is the slim Meredith Vieira dressed in a conservative but knee-revealing skirt to further convey the message, excuse me, that drinking milk can make you thin, attractive, sexy, and maybe even famous. Okay, so this last sentence ties in the both assertions, the celebrity, the modeling, and the hourglass image. She says sexy, or this person says sexy and attractive and thin. But remember, this is rhetoric. This is the opinion of someone. So this is not unbiased. Okay, this is an extremely biased ad, and that's what we have to be able to do, is identify what are the biases here, what are the fallacies, and how are they supporting their biases and their opinions in this ad. And so the paragraph helps us to break that down so that we can see how rhetoric works, what makes people persuasive, and what makes them effective at that. So you will take these two, and let me go back, you will take this particular example, and you still connect it to any kind of writing that you do when we talk about support paragraphs. You've got to have that topic sentence. Even if you're not persuading anyone, you're just giving a research article, or you're writing a research paper, you're doing a book review, whatever the case may be, you must have that topic sentence in that paragraph. And then you need to have sufficient evidence to support your assertion. Whatever it is that you're saying, you've got to have evidence from the text. If you're doing a literary analysis on the Hunger Games and you want to say that Katniss is brave, okay, that's very, basic. But if you want to say she's brave, that's your assertion, she's brave. And you've got to have sufficient evidence to support your position that she's brave. So you're going to go into the text and you're going to find quotations. You're going to find when she confronts President Snow, when she volunteers for her sister, etc. All of these examples of bravery from Katniss, and that's going to be your evidence. And then from that, you will have to analyze that. What does that tell us about Katniss's character? What does that tell you about how the writer views Katniss and how she views maybe the society as a whole? Okay, and you connect that to the larger condition, the human condition. Okay, and then in that concluding sentence, you bring it all together and you can either, like I said, connect it to your next paragraph because you're going to be transitioning to something else, or if it's just a paragraph by itself, a standalone, then you will make sure that the concluding paragraph either has a call to action or something that helps the reader fully understand what your purpose was for writing and what they should do after. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can email me, let me know, and I will be there to assist you. Thanks.